Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and for this video I'm going to go through the 10 worst horror movies in my collection. Yes, I'm doing it to myself. I'm going to dredge up the worst of the worst that I've watched over the years and I've had to put myself through so that hopefully you won't have to. But yeah, make no mistake, these are really bad movies. These are not just your average kind of bad movies. These aren't bottom of the barrel, these are underneath the barrel. It's some pretty bad stuff. I doubt a lot of people will have even have heard of these films, which isn't me trying to sound worldly. That's a good thing for you. Trust me. Yeah, these are the worst movies that I have in my collection. So, we'll start at number 10. And at number 10 is Troll 2, the infamous Troll 2, regarded by a lot of people as the worst movie ever made. To kind of give you an idea of the rest of the films on this list, if Troll 2 is number 10. But yeah, there's no two ways about it, this is definitely a bad movie. But what I didn't like about Troll 2 was it is actually kind of surprisingly played straight. I thought it would be a bit more camp and a bit more cheesy and maybe like embrace the badness, but it doesn't really do that. It just sort of plays it straight, which not only makes it bad but makes it kind of less enjoyable as well. And that's the thing, these movies are bad but there's no kind of charm about them either. Yeah, Troll 2 was that for me. I thought it would be a bit more maybe self-aware of how bad it is and how bad it is, but it isn't. It's just bad. So number 10 is the infamous Troll 2. At number 9 is a film called Nightmares Come at Night. So Jess Franco film. I couldn't make this list without a Jess Franco film. This one I got recently. I showed this in one of my updates not too long ago, and it's just really, really dull. Very, very boring movie. It's not one that I made it all the way through, which I hate doing. I hate switching movies off. I don't do it lightly, but this and a few of the others were ones that I couldn't even make it through, and this one was just boring, really, really boring. Couldn't get into it at all. So that is number 9. Okay, number 8 is a film called Sick, which, if I remember right, stands for Serial Insane Clown Killer. I think that's right. It's nowhere near as lurid or entertaining as what that title suggests. It's very, very boring with terrible acting. Nothing in it of merit. I don't think this cool clown person on the front features in the film. Very, very terrible, low budget, boring movie. I hated it. I also couldn't make it through this one. So that is that one. Okay, next up, from Vinegar Syndrome, Dr. Jekyll's Dungeon of Death. Vinegar Syndrome, man, you guys, you sucker punch me with this one. Comes in this really nice VSA release slipcase, but my god, the movie is terrible. Very, very bad movie. Very, very bizarre as well. That's the thing about it. It wasn't just bad, it was bizarre. The performances, the acting were on a different level, and it almost made me feel uncomfortable, kind of how badly acted this was. There's very, very little goes on in it. There's a few decent fight scenes. I think when I bought this and talked about it on my channel, I was trying to think of something good I could say about it. There are a couple of good fight scenes in it, and that is it. But my god, this is a real hard-going, bizarre, bad film. Not one I recommend at all. So that is 7. Okay, at number 6 from Scream Factory. Now, Scream Factory don't really release terrible films, but gosh, this one, The Spell. Boy, this one was awful. Very, very boring film. The thing I hate about this one is it's this girl, she has like supernatural powers, but that's not really explored much in the film. And she lives with like her mum, dad and her sister, but they're like the most unlikable family I've ever seen. They're petty. They're always arguing all the time. They're always just getting on at each other, and that just goes on through the whole film. It's hardly even a horror film. to be quite honest with you. It's just like this melodrama that follows this like annoying, horrible, arguing family, and oh god, it was just dreadful. I think I made it into an hour for this, and I couldn't take any more of this annoying family. So no, couldn't stand this movie. It was dreadful. Okay, at number 5, Vinegar Syndrome again. Blood Theatre. My gosh, this one was just boring. One of the most boring films I've ever seen. It's only just about over an hour long, but my gosh, it seems about 3 hours. You'll feel every minute of that hour-long duration, trust me. And I remember watching it thinking it was almost quite impressive how little they had happen in this film. I don't know how you create such an uneventful film, but clearly the makers of Blood Theatre worked hard to do so. Yeah, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. Just a dreadful film. Okay. Number 4, really getting below the barrel now. We have Teenage Slumber Party Nightmare. And yeah, again, awful acting. Very, very amateurish. It looks terrible. Nothing happens till way over an hour, and I think there's only one kill maybe in this that's memorable. Dreadful looking killer as well. These are all supposed to be high school kids, and the killer in it is like an outcast high schooler, but he's like about 45 years old. He has like greying hair, and he's smaller than the female members of the cast. It's just awful. I don't want to be mean to the guy, but why they wanted to cast him as the killer in this film, it's awful, absolutely awful. Just dreadful in every way. Real struggle to get through that one. So that is that one. Into the top 3, we have, can't even remember what these are called, Zombie Planet. And I think this is a record. I think that I made it about 15 minutes into this one, which is a record for turning it off early. I couldn't bear it. It was the acting of this one. The acting was so bad. It almost went beyond bad acting. Like I recognise bad acting. This kind of went beyond that. I don't know what they were doing, but they almost it was like they had something wrong with them. The dialogue, the way they delivered it, the way they interacted was just painful film. Didn't look great either. It was very low budget. Not a lot happened, but yeah, I couldn't bear the acting and the dialogue in this one. Yeah, I had to switch it off. So that is number 3, Zombie Planet. Number 2, the number 2 worst movie in my collection ever is Alabama Sasquatch. I have talked about this one before when I did about terrible films that had good cover art, and my goodness, this has amazing cover art. I was totally suckered into that. Don't be fooled by it. It's absolutely awful. None of this even happens. It's a really awful amateurish film filmed in someone's backyard. It mainly tries to go down the comedy route. It's not funny at all. It's just weird and just cringy. There is no Sasquatch in it. It's a guy in an obvious like monkey suit. They make no attempt to make it look good. Just absolutely dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. Terrible. Please do not watch this film. So that is number 2. But the number 1 worst movie in my collection has to be Science Crazed. I don't have the articulatory skill to put into words how bad this movie is. It is beyond words. It is that bad, I am speechless. And I watch some bad films, and usually I can kind of get across why they're bad. I can't do it. It is awful. I believe there are clips on YouTube of Science Crazed. If you want to do it to yourself and check them out, then go for it. I'd love to know what you think if you watch them. But, yeah, speechless. And like I say, you have to remember, these are bad, but they're bad without any degree of charm or campiness or self-awareness or anything like that. But Science Crazed is on a different level. Mind-numbing, absolutely mind-numbing. So, they are probably the 10 worst movies in my collection. So let me know what you think about that, guys. I'd be really interested to know what you think of these films. Are there any of these 10 that you actually enjoy? That'd be amazing to know. And I would also love to know what the worst movies you have that you own. That'd be fun to discuss. So thank you very much for watching that. And stay tuned for more videos.